Something was out of the ordinary at the new corporate headquarters of Sierra Online in the small town of Oakhurst, California. While Ken and Roberta Williams Software Company, far away from the bustling technological hubs of San Francisco and Silicon Valley, to many locals was shrouded in mystery. Amidst the usual comings and goings of casual jeans and t-shirt wearing employees, conspicuously men dressed in dark three-piece suits with suitcases started making appearances. In 1982, the Williams' company, initially named Online Systems, had secured a significant infusion of investment capital, over $1 million, when financial wizard Jacqueline Morby, managing director at prestigious TA Associates, acquired a 24% stake in the company. With the influx of venture capital, the company, more or less resembling a hacker summer camp, was evolving into a structured and legitimate business. The money was put into new management, better research, development, marketing, and manufacturing facilities. Recognizing the need for a distinctive identity, the company, now located in the scenic foothills of the majestic Sierra Nevada mountains near Yosemite National Park, adopted the name Sierra Online with the iconic landmark Half Dome Mountain as its logo. On several occasions during 1983, serious-looking corporate-clad men were seen in the vicinity of Sierra Online's new headquarters. These were clearly not tourists visiting the sites in the area, but representatives of mighty IBM, one of the largest and most important companies in U.S. business history. The delegations, unannounced, were to inspect the headquarters, filtering through wastebaskets for documents stamped confidential, checking metal security measures on filing cabinets, and testing the locks on the door to a special, isolated room with shrouded windows. Inside, Sierra programmers were toiling with an IBM Treasure, a prototype of the company's secret and upcoming affordable entry into the home computer market. Ken and IBM already had a solid working relationship, and now his company had been hired, in advance of the public unveiling, to develop a game that would take full advantage of the machine's extended graphics and sound capabilities. In typical IBM fashion, confidentiality was paramount and everything was to be kept top secret. IBM forbade direct reference to the company by its name. Instead, a code name was devised, with Ken creatively labeling it BFC, B for big, F for, and C for company. In any correspondence from that era, the codename BFC discreetly masked any direct reference to IBM, and while only a few select employees were to know about the top-secret project, the word quickly spread throughout the headquarters. Back in the summer of 1980, IBM executives had given the go-ahead to Bill Lowe, the director of the IBM General Systems Division lab at the company's Boca Raton facilities, to set up a task force and develop the proposal for a computer for small businesses and consumers that would sell for $1,500. The task force was fighting IBM's bureaucratic culture and the idea that things couldn't be done quickly within the company, with one analyst quoted as saying, "IBM bringing out a personal computer would be like teaching an elephant to tap dance." During a meeting with top executives in New York, Lowe claimed his group could develop a small, capable computer within a year. The response was, "You're on. Come back in 2 weeks with a proposal." Lowe picked a group of 12 strategists who worked around the clock to hammer out a plan for hardware, software, manufacturing setup, and sales strategy. Don Estridge, acting lab director at the time, volunteered to head the project and got permission to run a skunkworks entirely outside of IBM's standard procedures. Estridge decided early on that to succeed and meet deadlines, the group had to stick to the plan of using tested vendor technology, a standardized one-model product, open architecture, and outside sales channels, as the company had no retail experience. Pursuing expertise in home computer software, IBM sought an individual with a deep understanding of the market and a proven track record in software development. Turning to one of the most accomplished figures in the industry, Ken Williams emerged as the natural choice. His company had consistently been at the forefront of personal computer software, boasting an impressive portfolio of successful titles that included pioneering graphical adventures and an array of fast-paced action games. Williams was a prodigious programmer with a savvy business mindset, resonating well with corporate IBM, and in contrast to many in the home computer business, he brought a unique background from the corporate mainframe world, a domain that IBM dominated and understood intimately. Williams was the ideal candidate for its take on the home computer software market. On August 12, 1981, Estridge unveiled the IBM Model 5150 personal computer at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York. Priced at $1,565, it had 16 kilobytes of memory, a color graphics adapter, and no disk drive. To add a display, a disk drive, and a printer, the price doubled to $3,000, equivalent to over $10,000 in today's money. Reviews praised virtually every aspect of its design, and sales would exceed IBM's expectations by as much as 800%. At the peak, machines were selling at a rate of 1 every minute of every business day. Despite its immense success, the IBM PC was first and foremost a business machine, and to many, too expensive as a home consumer product. Confident, IBM in 1982 started looking to develop a more affordable home computer, intended as a lower-cost variant with hardware capabilities better suited for games and entertainment. In late 1982, developers started developing software for IBM's upcoming machine codenamed Peanut. Among those was Sierra Online, which had met with a team of suited IBM executives from Florida and asked if they could produce an enhanced version of their adventure game Adventure in Serenia as a prominent launch title. Under detailed IBM production outlines and a policy of strictly enforced security, IBM was willing to fund the project, market the game, and pay royalties. But the top-secret project had to break new ground, take full advantage of the system's state-of-the-art graphics and sound capabilities, and be replayable. Sierra accepted IBM's offer knowing that its forthcoming machine, employing the Intel 8088 processor and, at the time, an unheard-of 128 kilobytes of memory, was able to do sophisticated graphics and animation, fulfilling a long-standing desire of Roberta's that had been constrained by the limitations of all earlier systems. In early 1983, as production ramped up on Sierra's new game, analysts marked trends of saturation with consumers starting to lose confidence in a market flooded with poor-quality titles. The company had channeled substantial resources into highly expensive-to-produce cartridge-based games and titles for systems soon deemed obsolete. Before long, Sierra found itself navigating through a market swerving towards catastrophe, with diminishing returns on investment looming as sales dwindled. The company ended up with hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory of games that nobody wanted. Burning through the last cash reserves, Sierra was going broke fast. Ken and Roberta maxed out their credit cards and leveraged their home. Their company had to undergo a massive downsizing, and in a matter of weeks, over 130 employees turned to less than 35. Simultaneously, as investor confidence wavered in the company's ability to make money, Sierra's optimistic ideas for an animated adventure Ken and his team had sold IBM were received with praise. Even so, that other products were contracted, enabling the company to rehire some of its earlier layoffs. Under Ken's watchful eye, Roberta and 6 designers, artists, and programmers went to work. The success of the project was imperative for the future success of the company, and required a collaborative effort from everyone involved to ensure the best possible product was to be delivered to IBM. To realize the ambitious and technically complex animated game, work on a new game engine was commenced. The primary objective was to foster a more up-to-date and cohesive development environment, enabling artists, designers, and programmers to actively participate in the process, collaborate on work, and conduct testing, all within the same system. With the team in place and a new game engine in the works, Roberta mapped out her story, with familiar characters from literature, inspired by the stories and fables from the fairy tales and children's books she so much loved. Once she had established a rather simple storyline and described the intentions of the various locations and elements, artists prepared full-color, detailed drawings of each of the many outdoor and indoor scenes. To deliver on the promise of an open 3D-like world, and to create an environment that integrated and granted players true freedom of movement, a clever approach was devised of splitting up each scene and its objects into a number of prioritized elements based on their distance to the bottom of the screen. The game engine then seamlessly determined whether the player, relative to his own position, occupied a position behind or in front of objects. The technique effectively created the illusion of three-dimensional depth, and along with the animated 16-color full-screen graphics, would herald new standards in visual fidelity. As the game's development progressed, albeit behind schedule, the unveiling of the IBM PC Junior to the public in November 1983 sparked significant hype and optimistic projections, with numerous contemporary media publications confidently predicting that IBM's consumer-oriented machine swiftly would come to dominate the home market. Ken Williams, given IBM's success with its IBM PC, dreamt of millions of sold machines with a significant number of buyers, considering his company's new game as a must-have launch title. While production delays had the PC Junior missing the crucial 1983 Christmas sales season, demonstration machines started appearing early the following year. At the Winter Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January 1984, Sierra demoed King's Quest for the first time, just as Roberta would finish her final commitments on the game. Attendance at the show would hit an all-time high with nearly 100,000 visitors. The lucky ones witnessed how Roberta and her team were about to revolutionize gaming. In March, when the PC Junior became widely available, King's Quest was still over a month away from release. The team, particularly the programmers, had grappled with persistent delays. But after 18 months of development, and a staggering cost of $850,000, master copies were sent to IBM for them to handle manufacturing, publishing, and distribution. On May 10, 1984, IBM published Sierra's masterpiece. Despite being critically acclaimed for setting completely new standards in gaming and becoming Game of the Month, King's Quest's immediate success remained absent. IBM had supported Sierra with milestone payments during difficult times, effectively saving the struggling company. However, even the might of IBM could not ensure the success of King's Quest or its PC Junior. When the PC Junior became widely available, sales immediately fell below expectations, and the press quickly echoed concerns that the computer had the potential to become a source of embarrassment for IBM. Stores responded by offering discounts, and vendors scaled back their plans for releasing products compatible with the system. IBM acknowledged that the demand for the PC Junior was not expanding as rapidly as anticipated, and by May 1984, when King's Quest was released, a mere 10,000 machines had been sold, consequently leading to disappointing sales figures for Sierra's groundbreaking game. The following year, when IBM pulled the PC Junior from the market, the computer had cemented its reputation as one of the most spectacular failures in computing history. As the IBM PC Junior headed towards its demise, the company's main line of computers was conquering market shares at an unprecedented pace. By 1984, when King's Quest was released, IBM had filled the market with nearly 5 million PCs, complemented by 2 to 3 million IBM-compatible systems from other manufacturers. The rapidly expanding market was unquestionably more favorable for a successful PC rendition, helping to offset the disappointing sales of the PC Junior version. For over a decade, IBM had been in a legal struggle with the US government. Its dominance in the computer industry had led to an antitrust case, with the government threatening to break up the company, shaking IBM to its core. The paranoia within IBM affected how the company would do its future business, and resulted in the company being afraid of licensing anything exclusively. Along with the non-disclosure agreement Sierra had signed with IBM back in late 1982, IBM had expressively stated that King's Quest could be marketed to other companies. At the end of May, and only a matter of weeks after the PC Junior release, Sierra self-published King's Quest for the IBM PC. The release featured vastly improved cover art, now skillfully portraying the game and its storyline, and was complemented by a heightened dramatic backstory within the accompanying manual by editor and writer Annette Childs, who was working in Sierra's marketing and packaging department. Despite the IBM PC version on the market, sales remained sluggish and Sierra continued to grapple with financial issues. By mid-1984, the company reluctantly initiated another round of layoffs in a bid to weather the storm. To sustain operations, resources were redirected predominantly towards a new Disney venture, all while utilizing the adaptable framework to expand the availability of King's Quest across other platforms. During 1984, Ken Williams flew down to Texas to meet with executives from Radio Shack, the largest retailer of electronics with over 6,000 stores across the U.S. Tandy Corporation, which owned Radio Shack, was working on a new computer intended to compete with the IBM PC Junior. After several meetings with Radio Shack CEO John V. Roach, one of the early proponents of the personal computer, Ken came away with an agreement that the retailer would sell King's Quest for the upcoming computer. In November 1984, Tandy Corporation introduced its Tandy 1000, the company's first fully IBM PC-compatible computer. The system offered the same graphics and sound capabilities as the PC Junior, but came with a proper keyboard, better expandability, was better priced, and with the thousands of Radio Shack stores to market and sell it, it was much better equipped for success in the consumer market. In its first month after being introduced, the Tandy 1000 sold more units than any other Tandy product, and by early 1985 it was the company's best-selling computer. Sales soared when Sierra released the Tandy 1000 version of King's Quest in the early summer of 1985. After more than a year of struggling to gain commercial traction, Roberta and her team finally saw their hard work starting to pay off. By developing a framework that harnessed the advanced capabilities of the IBM PC Junior and now the equally sophisticated Tandy 1000, Sierra positioned itself as a leader in the industry, offering superior graphics, sound, and animation ahead of the competition. Despite King's Quest not finding commercial success on the IBM PC Junior, its release on other platforms drove impressive sales and laid the foundation for 7 sequels. Together, these sold upwards of 10 million copies, firmly establishing Roberta Williams as one of the most successful and influential game designers of her time. While IBM's investment in Sierra Online, King's Quest and a few other products proved a saving hand, it was not the sole determinant of the company's resilience during the challenging times, but the legitimacy of the IBM name and the cultivated relationship played a pivotal role in establishing the company as a serious business, occupying a tier that few other companies in the business managed to attain at the time. Ken Williams' strategic deal with Tandy Corporation to feature King's Quest as the premier game for its computers in the thousands of Radio Shack stores nationwide resulted in sales soaring and marked the beginning of an impressive 15 years, boasting nothing but positive figures on the company's bottom line.